Hey, we're back after I don't know, we've been off for what, a week and a half,
Something like
two
that.
weeks, something like that. Of course, this will be our final Sunday school lesson on video because next week we'll be back at the church, so that will be a good thing.
Unless people are not going back to church.
Anyway, so we are on session 6 on page 55. God protects. The scripture verses are Isaiah 31, 1 through 9. Linda's going to read those and then we'll have us a little discussion.
Okay. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. For thus hath the Lord spoken unto me, like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey, when a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him. He will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall the Lord of hosts come down to fight for Mount Zion, and for the hill thereof. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. For in that turn ye unto him from whom the wait a minute.
Turn ye unto him.
Him from whom the children, and passing over, he will preserve it. That's what I was thinking. Turn ye unto him from whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made unto you for a sin. Then shall the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man in the sword, not of a mean man shall devour him, but he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited. And he shall pass over to the stronghold for fear, and his princes shall be afraid of the ensign, saith the Lord, whose fire is in Zion, and his furnace in Jerusalem.
Well, we see a familiar pattern here with God's chosen people, and this parallels very much our own lives, where they thought that they could kind of handle things on their own, and so they made alliances with different secular powers there, and that fell apart, and then they were in trouble, and so they're running back to the Egyptians to help them, which whose God delivered them from slavery just not that many years ago. And so God is really he's really kind of pissed at them, I think. It's Gee, I mean, if you look at this line, yet he is also wise. I mean, that's the biblical smack right there. They're trying to run to Egypt to protect them, that they're wise and they're powerful. And it says, well, God is also wise. Knowing that God is omnipotent. God is all powerful and all knowing. And so they're saying, yeah, you think you got this guy, but look at our guy. So they are turning against God and trying to rely on other men. And we do the same thing once we get kind of fat and happy, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We try to think we have this, and we've got our friends down here, and we'll be all right. But God is the one who truly protects, who truly fortifies you, who truly helps you out. It's It's an amazing thing if you just place your faith in God, how He will take care of your troubles.
Yeah, we have to rely on him. We have nobody in this world, no matter how many friends we say we have or whatever there, we can only rely on God.
So if you look at it, it says, "Woe to those who go down to Egypt for help and depend on horses." If you are going to turn away from God, and I mean, not just not ask God for help, but turn away from the help He's offered and ask other men for help, woe to you. God's saying, you just better watch out here because you don't know how much trouble you can get into. Now, you can see, like the Israelites saw, that Egypt had lots of men with horses and chariots, and they were big, impressive looking army. But how quickly they forgot what God did to deliver them from the Egyptians, not that long before this. It's amazing how quickly they can forget, and they get this cycle of dependence on God, and then they start feeling good. They can take care of themselves, and so they just kind of turn away from God and fall down, and then God has to bring them back up again when they turn back to Him. So, um,
Isn't that what we do today? How that we turn away from
excuse me.
God and then we have to come back and fall down to him and ask him to help us.
Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry. Linda's right. We do the same thing. I see it in my life where I get kind of, fat and sassy and think I know what's going on. And before long, God lets me know who's really in charge. Linda's in charge.
No, I'm not. Only God is in charge.
Um, so when you depend on men, you depend on them to stick to the word and carry out their word for a specific period of time or even indefinitely. And the only one you can depend on indefinitely is God.
Hmm.
He never falters, He never fails. He goes in perpetuity to save you, no matter how far you turn away from Him. All you have to do is turn around and ask Him to help, and He is right there.
Oh, he is. Yes.
So Isaiah is talking here to Hezekiah, who's looking for allies, and he's looking towards Egypt for allies. And Isaiah is trying to remind him that God is all powerful. Egypt has limits on its power.
Hmm.
They've got an army, but once that army is exhausted, that's it. And God is omnipotent. He is all power and all true and all faithful. And Isaiah explained that God would remain faithful even if his people were unfaithful to him. And this is what we were just talking about, that it doesn't matter how often you turn your back on God and how far away you run from God, He's still right there. All you have to do is turn around and ask, and He will
Hmm.
deliver on His promises.
Yes, he will.
Isaiah challenged the people to turn back to God, demonstrating their repentance by removing idols, and then He would decisively defeat His enemies. If we go back and we look at the last few lines of the text, turn ye unto Him from whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. So even though they have turned away from God, all they have to do is turn around. For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made for, for you for a sin. Now, you know we're not supposed to have anything between us and God.
Hmm.
We're supposed to keep our faith unto Him and Him alone. And they have made these idols out of precious metals, and those won't do anything to help you.
Right.
All they will do is lead you further away from God. All that is Satan in disguise. So throw away your idols, get rid of them. Then shall the Assyrians fall with the sword, not of a mighty man in the sword, not of a mean man shall devour him, but shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomforted. So God is going to take care of the Assyrians. You don't need Egypt to come in and bail you out. God's going to take care of them.
Right.
And if you look at this, this is exactly what we need today. You look at this country turning away from God, trying to remove God from every place out in public. People are tearing down crosses and statues and anything that has to do with the presence of God. Um, they're trying to run them out of our schools. They're trying to run them out of every place in government. And this country's heading to a deep, dark, black hole. And we need to turn around and embrace God again. And that is our job, you and me. We have to deliver that message to the people of this country so they can understand what a pit they're falling into. History repeats itself over and over and over again, and we never learn.
Hmm.
We never learn.
It's almost like people want to take God out of everything because they think they can get rid of him that way, but that's not the case. God is still there, and he has more power than anything,
Well,
anybody.
I think it's about control. People
People
want
think,
to feel like they're in control of their own lives.
yeah,
And God allows us an incredible amount of autonomy to do what we want. He
right,
gives us free will. But we have to understand that there are consequences to our choices.
hmm,
God has delivered consequences to the Israelites time and time again throughout history. And they keep turning back to God and they keep turning back to God. But they always had to pay the price for their sin. And you will pay a price for your sin, even though ultimately you're saved and you'll go to heaven.
hmm.
And that is, I mean, an incalculable gift from God.
It is. It's the most valuable gift in the world to be able to go to heaven.
So we have to look into what is separating us from God. What in this country is going on that these folks feel like they need to remove God? And there's one thing I do believe that we just talked about, that they feel like they need to be in control, not somebody else in control. But also, they don't have a faith of a better world. They don't have a faith of eternity. All they see is what's here on earth and what's right in front of them. And they don't realize that this short time here on earth is just so temporary.
Hmm.
That God is in existence forever. There is no time. He's just always there. And I was on Facebook, and I forgot one of the political things we were talking back and forth about, and someone had mentioned um, about evolution or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in there, well, you can. I'll give you evolution, the Big Bang Theory, all that stuff. I'll spot you that. But where did it all begin? What is the uncaused cause? And he came back to me and said, so your faith is just based on this little logic um, exercise that there must be a higher being because there has to be an uncaused cause. And I said, well, no, that's not what my faith is based on, but I believe that is a good explanation that's a good logical explanation that there is a supreme being. And that is, it's a good logical explanation that there is a supreme being, but just acknowledging that there is a supreme being is not enough. You have to acknowledge that the God of Isaac and Abraham, Jesus' father, is the one true God, and he is the one that helps you. But if we can get people to accept the concept that there is a supreme being, I think that's one step that a lot of people have to take.
Mm-hmm.
Once they take that step, we can show them the infallibility of the Bible and how precious God's word is and how true the Bible is. And, a lot of people look at the biblical stories, Noah and the ark and Sodom and Gomorrah and this and that, and they say that, no, those things didn't really happen. They're just stories. Well, we know they did happen, but even if they are just stories, they create a perfect analogy to what happens in your life without God.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah,
So
I agree.
You may have to get people to believe in the overall concept of God and then get them believing in Christianity to bring them along. We have to make the case for God. We have to know how to do that. We have to understand how to do that. And of course, that's why we have these Bible studies. That's why we're reading these verses today, because they show how when you depend on other entities outside of God, the world collapses in on you. And you have to turn back to God to fix them.
That's true, Dan. And you was talking about the cause. They have to be a cause. It can't happen by itself.
There's the uncaused cause.
There's nothing that can happen by itself. I mean, even I was listening to this 9-year-old boy today that so they ain't no atheist. I can prove these atheists wrong. He's 9 years old, and God gave him these talents, and he's already in college. God gave him these talents, and he knows where he stands with the Bible. And so they have to be a way that God's put this on him, to show him that, to show other people that they are. We have God over our universe. God is not inside the universe. He is inside, but not the way.
God is the universe.
Yeah, God is the universe. He's on the outside. He's looking in.
He's on the outside. He's on the inside. He's in the middle. He's in the end. He's in front. He's in back.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
He's omnipresent.
And people just don't realize, what they're getting themselves into when, they're taking God out, just like in these verses here. God is here to protect us. You know,
Yes.
he's here to give us a good life, you know.
All you have to do is have faith in him and trust him.
But it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe in God.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah.
Being an atheist is a hard thing to do.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
But anyway, we have to depend on God for our end journey, and we need to look past the material things. Everyone says, well, there's wars on earth, there's natural cataclysmic events, hurricanes, and all this stuff is just stuff here while we're stuck in these mortal shells here on earth.
Yeah. That's true.
It's nothing compared to the eternity once we leave this world.
Yes, that's true. And once we leave this world, it's going to be a better place, you know. Thought about that the other day, about leaving this world and how much better we're going to have it in God's world, you know, when he takes us to heaven, where he's prepared a place for us to go.
Well, you know, there is good and evil here on earth. God allows good and evil. He gave us free will. This is what we're doing. But once you leave this earth, you either go to heaven where it's all good, or you go to hell where it's all evil. And you think it's bad here now. Just imagine if all the good was sucked out, what was left.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to really emphasize to the lost out there how important it is that they accept God's protection and get the long view, not the short view of what happens to me today or tomorrow, but the long view of what's going to happen to my soul once we're done here on earth.
Yes, exactly. Because this old body's body, it'll turn back to dust.
Sure.
But our soul goes on to be with the Lord, you know, one way or the other.
And that's who we are. Our body's just a shell.
Mm-hmm.
We, our soul, will be hopefully in heaven.
If you're saved by the grace of God, if you've accepted him.
Hopefully we will see all of y'all in heaven.
Yeah, I know that I'm going to be there.
We're going to be there.
Yes.
We're going to be there. I'm pretty sure most of our audience is going to be there too.
Yeah.
But we just want to sum this up with Isaiah 30:18. And therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore he will be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you, for the Lord is a God of judgment. Blessed are they that wait for him. So we have to wait for God, and we have to trust him to protect us until the time he calls us home.
And I'm so thankful, you know, even though we're having to wait on him, he knows in his own time when he wants to take us home. But I'm so glad that he's present with me, you know, and he's present with you and our friends, you know, who have accepted the Lord, you know, our Sunday school class and, you know, those that's accepted the Lord. I'm so glad.
Okay, well, we appreciate you being with us today, and Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be back on our devotionals tomorrow.
Yes.
And I want y'all to have just a blessed day, the rest of today and all through the week, and we'll be talking to you through the week.
Yes, we will. Well, God bless everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.